Good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. It is Friday, the 24th of July. This is my weekly recap, and we're to talk a little bit looking towards next week. And what a very tough market it has been for the last week plus couple weeks. We've been in a very range-bound sideways market, and we're trying to break down here, though it's not going easily. If you look at the ES, you can see we've come down. We still haven't taken out yesterday's lows. There's a couple things going on here that are really bad. One, crude. Now, crude's down a little bit, but it's off the highs, but still trading near $90 a share. The other big problem here is bonds. Bonds remain extremely weak, and that means rates are at highs. They're at a 52-week high. Market doesn't like that. The other issue is South Korea. South Korea market continues to unwind, and that has been causing some angst here. So you have all this going on, and then you bring in earnings this season, and then we saw what happened here lately with Google and Intel and Tesla. And there's one thing this market doesn't want to hear right now. It is not interested, no matter what the reasons are, in capex spending. If you're raising capex spending, they're going to murder you. They murdered Google on Thursday night on that, raising their capex setting, even setting 2027 to be significantly higher on a report that, in my opinion, was a fabulous report. Tesla said, we're raising our capex. They got killed. Intel, we're raising our capex. They got beaten up, right? So, there's a lot going on in this market here that isn't so good. When you look at the S&P 500, today's candle failed at the 8-day, where the 8-day really came down to us, but you get the idea. And we have this wild candle. And as we go into this weekend, there's a couple things to think here before you go long. One is what's going to happen in the Middle East. That war has quote unquote widened, according to people, with the Red Sea now being active with the Houthis. Trump's been talking quite a bit about it today. What's going to happen there is a mystery, but don't be surprised if some major action goes over there in the next couple of days, a week or so. So we'll watch for that. We'll see how the South Korea market opens on Monday. Um, this is also at play. We go into next week, we have the second Fed meeting with Warsh. I'm not expecting much from that. And you have the other big hyperscalers reporting. You have Meta and Amazon and Microsoft. On top of that, you have Apple in there, you have Coin, you have Hood, you have all these names. You have next week's one of the biggest earnings of the quarter weeks. Right. So the market's kind of waiting for that. And I said yesterday, after that down candle, we may not go lower from here until we get into Wednesday night when we get Meta and Microsoft. So the market here is content to chop around, and chopping is doing. That said, today you saw some strength in the banks. JP Morgan put a new all-time high in. Bank of America put a new all-time high in. Apple just missed putting an all-time high in here as it went up. So there's still some little pockets of strength. Energy was up, but's come back in. Uh, Walmart, Costco had bounce days. The charts still look like a wreck. You know, I don't think this is a market to swing in. Personally, I've been trading much less. It's turned into a decent week. Just caught a nice trade on Uber off the lows, but it has not been easy this week. I've traded significantly less than I normally trade and continue to do so. You look at the semis, which have been our leaders, they're just not looking pretty. Look at the SMHs here coming back towards those recent lows. Couldn't retake the 21-day, failed there. DRAM, the memory names, right? One of the biggest weaknesses today. Micron, SNDK, SKHY, right? Putting these names in there. China now, their memory is not considered to be cheaper. It's the same price. We saw AMD with their AI presentation yesterday. Analysts loved it. Everybody out and raised their price targets, but the name didn't go anywhere. Nvidia tried to bounce today, couldn't hold. We're seeing names like ARM, nothing going on there, right? Coming in. Qualcomm saying they're raising prices, right? There's no leadership there. IGV can't find a friend. The chart looks like hot death again. Whether it's Palantir, Microsoft, which reports next week, right? Oracle putting in another multi-year low here. Salesforce, Path got absolutely destroyed earlier this week, trying to bounce here a bit. None of that looks particularly good. Yep, Adobe had a nice day. Mark, yay. Mag 7, right? Microsoft, ugly week. Amazon off of Google, just beaten up, right? Meta, beaten up off of there. There's just no leadership here. This market has almost no leadership right now. Hood, coin, getting absolutely victimized here. So the question becomes is what's going on here? What do you do? I'm going to do some charts for you this weekend. It might be tomorrow because I'm going to catch up with my daughter on Sunday morning. But honestly, I think when you look under the covers and you look at this market, the indexes are not showing the depth of the carnage going on under there. And at some point, one of these has to catch up to the other. Now, sometimes we have this move where, um, you know, they reverse and they start buying momentum names and the indexes come running back. But in this case, I kind of have a funny feeling that we're going to see the indexes finally catch up to some of these names where the momentum names are all coming in. They're coming in hard. By the way, the VIX is still saying, I'm okay. It's still inside the Bollinger Bands. It's still not above 20. Very difficult market. So with that said, I'll get some charts out for you this weekend. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. If anybody might remember, you're a member with me, you need to talk, please just let me know. I'm always happy to have conversations with you guys. Catch you in the morning. Have a good one.